Hey, Love Squad. What's good? This is Kim B, aka Glam Powered, with my initial reaction for the latest episode of Lovecraft Country. We are now on episode 9, Rewind 1921. Oh my gosh, y'all, I cried. This was a very emotional episode. TV series, movies, they've always been therapeutic. This one, this entire season has been therapy, but this one just hit home in such a deep and personal way because the original part of my family is from Oklahoma. I still, like, the oldest part of my family still lives in Oklahoma. And, they left because of what you saw. And it just makes me think about the history. I have part of my family went to Chicago, like what you see. Part of my family ended up leaving Chicago and going to California, which is where I was born. So it just made me think about my ancestors. And low key, high key, my ancestors have literally been visiting me in my dreams as of late. I've had two dreams with them. So it just like, I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. Like, what they went through, and what we are still going through. And it also made me think about you guys might not know, I'm a teacher by trade. So I was talking with one of my students. I'm an international teacher. I work with students all around the world, and people all around the world are watching this series, you guys. And one of my students, he was just like, it is absolutely appalling what has happened in America. That's basically what he said. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So just that. I mean, this is very somber. Like, the last episode had that like excitement and just like, oh my god, this I just don't feel that way after this episode. I just feel very somber, very grounded, very serious. The weight of it. And it's interesting because what was depicted, Tulsa, it was I mean I I'm even trying to find the words right now. Like, the way they did it was real, and the pacing and everything was very fast. This show, the pacing picked up around maybe episode 3, right? It started to pivot with this pacing, but it's just been incredible. The whole journey, the whole experience has been incredible. I mean, spoiler alert, if you didn't watch the episode, they go back to that fateful night, the first night, because this went on for a couple of days, in Tulsa. And we see that depicted. We see George's, the root of his, I'm thinking about George. Montrose, the root of his pain and his agony, and him having to deal with that and like literally go back and relive. Could you imagine? No, like, the one thing he probably wanted to, he was drowning out literally with liquor his entire life after that point, most likely. It's just, oh my God, the weight of it. The weight of it. Um, the acting was phenomenal as usual. Spoiler alert, if you guys remember, like, we've heard mention of this man that came and beat the people that were attacking George and Montrose that fateful night, when they were kids. We find out that it's Tick, that was actually him that did that, right? He was the one that came and rescued them. Um, and we're continuing to see them have this reconciliation. There's a pull and a come back together between Tick and Montrose. We see that again this episode. And it's just like, how can you not have sympathy after you see that? The history of violence, the abuse, and that pattern and how it got passed down, and how I know Tick is not about to pass that down to his child. He's not. His child, his I mean, and think about the weight of that. Like, his son will be the first of sons in their line that we know about who doesn't suffer in that way. You know, he doesn't have to deal with that abuse because they're addressing it. They are addressing it. They're addressing it. They're addressing it in this episode. This is about ancestry. This is about past, present, future. It's about family. It's about magic. There is so much that happens in this episode, and it's kind of a bridge episode because, you know, we're getting down to the last episode. This is the penultimate episode. My God. I'm seeing burning. I'm seeing all that fire everywhere. And I mean, the way that the fire was depicted, it's just, this, for me too, it was a little bit of like symbolism too, you know, especially with Letty, because Letty did retrieve the book of names from the house. So that would have been Tick's house, Tick's dad, well, not Tick, Tick's grandfather, yeah, his house, Montrose and George's house. um so just thinking about legacy, which is what this whole season, this whole series is also about, that legacy, you know, and trying to preserve a legacy against all odds. We see the horror, which in this episode, it's not even monsters, it's just, you know, white supremacy and hatred and jealousy and envy, you know, all of the things that caused the massacre to happen in the first place. That's what we see depicted. And yeah, this was a very, very heavy episode. um it was visually stunning, even though what was being depicted was horrible. I mean, the special effects were incredible, and I don't know what else to say but that. So I'm gonna watch it again, of course, because I have to take my notes, and I am processing. I stay processing at the end of these episodes, but this one just hit me a different way. The other ones, like, it was like an action movie vibe type thing. This just wasn't like that. It was, there was tons of action, but I just don't have that buzz. It's just the weight. And it's just one of those episodes where you're just really, you know, silence and reflection is called for at the end. um my spirit is telling me to say to all of the ancestors of the survivors, you know, my heart is with you, and I'm thinking about my family. You know, it's incredible how many of us are descendants of people that survived this, and some of whom who didn't, you know. It makes me think about the history. We're not just watching some fictional story. These things actually happened. This is a part of my family's legacy. And um yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna stop here, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, this is Kim, aka Glam Powered. Stay tuned for my full, you know, recap and analysis. And follow me on Instagram. It's at Glam Powered. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And shout out, I noticed I had a new subscriber today, so thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.